Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 20th of April, comes to you from London. We start, as always, by looking at currencies, then stock markets, some commodities, and last of all, just some US tech stocks. And we start by looking at the dollar index. Dollar is just sinking lower again this morning. We have activated this 97.70 target. So the dollar is really now quite clearly bearish below the cloud in the medium term. But we saw that last year. We saw this sell-off around this time, March, April, May. We saw the low around the end of April, beginning of May, and then the dollar started recovering strongly in the second half of the year. So we this whilst we're bearish in the medium term, we may soon hit a floor on the dollar where we start to recover, just based on last year. But at the moment, the short term is definitely to the downside. The long term is to the upside. So it's a mixed picture. On the euro, we're seeing the euro making new highs on the short term, and so that's also quite interesting. And the recovery in the medium term, the long term is bearish. And we still do have a lot of downside targets hanging over us, so that will also be interesting to see how we get through the next few weeks or a couple of months. And French elections will be an interesting impact as well. Looking at the Japanese yen, see the yen just weakening here, dollar strength. So, but it is very much about the stronger yen, medium and long term. Sterling, of course, jumped the day before yesterday on the election news, holding on to those gains. So still bearish in the long term, medium term bullish, and short term bullish. So sterling having a re-rating, holding on against the euro and against the Swiss franc. So we're seeing quite a lot of change there as well. Looking at the Australian dollar rate, it's just at this 170 level and holding on to that as well. So sterling just holding its strength in the short term. Looking at US stock markets, we see the S&P 500 still bearish in the short term, just struggling to break out. Nasdaq had quite a good day yesterday, but is still very much in this flat range, waiting for us to run again. Same with the Dow, sinking lower, in fact, in the Dow, and the Russell 2000 is just in a sideways range. Seeing the futures up slightly this morning, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq E-mini looking more positive. FTSE has really had that sinking feeling the last few days. We see how we're making new multi-month lows back to where we were in February, and we'll unwind pretty much all the gains this year on the FTSE 100 if we go much lower. And so FTSE 250 is still holding its strength. This is the sweet spot for the UK market at the moment. And then looking at DAX, we see here that's going lower as well. Nikkei just slightly lower. Hang Seng, slight recovery, but bearish below the cloud. Much the same for Shanghai. And the Sensex again, just bearish in the short term. So most stock markets showing bearish trends at the moment. S&P 500, the Australian S&P 200, the ASX, also just below the cloud. Brent crude trying to recover off the $53 level at the moment, but at the moment we are still bearish, so that's quite key as well. And on WTI, we're also just much the same, just fallen, bouncing at this $50 mark. We did momentarily go below $50, so we didn't actually quite make it below $50, just at about 50.20. But of course, getting back below 50 would be psychologically bad for crude. Nat gas just recovering slightly, coming back above the cloud at around 320. Copper still looking bearish in the short term. Going straight to gold. Gold just turning a bit bearish in the short term here. Little downside target of 1271, but 1371 is still the big target, looking pretty bullish. Silver, just short-term weakness there as well, below the cloud. Looking at treasury yields, 2.2%. We're just holding that level at the moment. Apple, still very short-term. Google holding on bullish. So is Amazon. Facebook back into bullish territory yesterday. It's looking stronger and stronger with lots of upside targets. And Microsoft just not quite getting back above there at the moment. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.